who is it going to be today, you know,
Yeah.
or with her hair and all that stuff. And for me, it's probably so boring for her, because I literally, you know, I'm going to have gray hair every day.
Blake Shelton left fans stunned when he admitted about Gwen Stefani. She just looked like crap. On the surface, it might sound like a playful tease between the couple, but the truth behind his words is far more complicated.
You know, I tell people all the time, Gwen saved my life last year. She did, and I think she would probably tell you something similar.
What is really going on in their relationship? What did he really mean by that? And how did Gwen respond? Stay with us, because the truth behind this remark is far more surprising than you think. From strangers to something real. In 2014, Gwen Stefani stepped onto the set of The Voice as a new judge. At that time, Blake Shelton was already a household name in country music, but Gwen admitted she had no idea who he was before the show. Coming from the world of pop and rock, she had never listened to country. She later confessed that while Blake was hugely successful, he simply wasn't on her radar until they worked side by side. That moment of discovery would become the beginning of something far bigger than either of them expected. When they first met, both were facing personal storms. Gwen was going through a painful divorce from Gavin Rossdale, while Blake was coming out of his own split from Miranda Lambert. Their connection began quietly, not with romance, but with empathy. They started checking in on each other, sharing how broken they felt and offering comfort. Blake once recalled waking up and realizing Gwen was all he cared about, wondering if she felt the same. That friendship, born out of heartbreak, slowly turned into a lifeline. In interviews, Blake has been honest about how deeply Gwen's presence affected him. Speaking in 2022, he described how she saved him when he was at his lowest point. He compared it to falling off a cliff and having someone's hand reach out to catch you just before you hit the ground. To him, Gwen wasn't just a new partner. She was a force that pulled him back from despair. Her strength, he explained, gave him something to hold on to when he might have otherwise slipped further. Still, it wasn't all smooth. Gwen has admitted that in the early days, her life felt like total chaos. With so much happening at once, she sometimes thought it was crazy to keep talking to Blake. At one point, she even considered cutting off contact, telling herself it was just too much. Yet, despite those doubts, she kept coming back to the connection they had built. Blake, on the other hand, was struck not just by Gwen's talent, but by her role as a mother. He noticed how she arrived with her kids, juggling her career and her family without losing sight of either. That balance impressed him deeply, and it became one of the reasons he respected her so much. What began as two people comforting each other in private soon grew into one of Hollywood's most surprising love stories. The world would soon learn how this unlikely pair, from opposite sides of the music industry, built a bond strong enough to turn friendship into marriage. Let's tell you how this unexpected friendship turned into one of the most talked about celebrity marriages. What it really means to be a unit. When Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani announced their engagement in October 2020, fans everywhere were overjoyed. It felt like a fairy tale moment. The country superstar and the pop icon finding love in the most unexpected place, behind the scenes of The Voice. Less than a year later, on July 3rd, 2021, they exchanged vows at Blake's Oklahoma ranch. The setting was intimate and heartfelt, with close family and friends gathered in a simple but beautiful ceremony. Carson Daly, their longtime friend and host of The Voice, officiated, which gave the day a deeply personal touch. For Blake and Gwen, the wedding wasn't about glamour or grand displays. It was about celebrating a love that had blossomed from shared heartbreaks and the healing they found in each other. Marriage, however, wasn't just about their bond. It also meant creating a blended family. Gwen came into the relationship with her 3 sons, Kingston, Zuma, and Apollo, from her previous marriage. For Blake, who had never been a father, the new role was both a challenge and a joy. Over the years, he has spoken openly about how his love for Gwen naturally extended to her boys. He often says he didn't just fall for Gwen, he fell for her entire family. Life at his ranch became a big part of their bonding. Away from the spotlight of Hollywood, the boys learned to fish, ride a TVS, and explore the countryside. Blake showed them a slower, grounded lifestyle, one filled with fresh air, quiet nights, and lessons that city life couldn't always provide. Blake has admitted that being a stepdad changed him in profound ways. He said it gave him a sense of responsibility and purpose that he had never felt before. From helping with school runs to cheering them on at events, he embraced the role with an open heart. Gwen has often shared how grateful she is for Blake's devotion, saying her sons adore him and see him as a steady, loving figure in their lives. The couple's holiday traditions reflect their blended family's warmth. Christmas mornings filled with music, cooking together, and keeping the kids at the center of their celebrations. At the heart of their marriage is a balance between differences and shared values. Gwen has often joked about how different their worlds are. She's into fashion, makeup, and city life, while Blake is happiest watching football or working on his ranch. Yet despite the contrast, they agree on what truly matters: faith, loyalty, and family. Blake has said Gwen's strong spirituality and devotion to her children gave him a new perspective, one that made him feel like he finally had a true home. Still, life under the spotlight hasn't been without challenges. Gwen once worried whether Blake would fully embrace her sons, knowing how hard it can be for relationships in the public eye to withstand constant scrutiny. On top of that, tabloids frequently spread rumors of secret fights or even divorce. Yet time and again, Blake and Gwen have addressed the speculation, reminding fans that their bond is real and grounded in love. The rumor mill spun even faster when Kelly Clarkson came into the picture, and what unfolded turned out to be one of the most controversial chapters in Blake's life: Blake's relationship with Kelly Clarkson. Blake Shelton and Kelly Clarkson first crossed paths as coaches on The Voice, and their professional chemistry quickly became a highlight of the show. Both of them brought strong personalities, but it was the way they played off each other that made fans tune in. Their banter was effortless. They teased, competed, and even challenged one another. But beneath all the jokes was a real layer of respect. Kelly herself once said that the best part of working with Blake was the laughter, calling him one of the funniest people she had ever met. Viewers could see that this friendship was both genuine and entertaining. Still, their connection came with playful tensions. Kelly often called Blake out during live shows, joking that he was a liar because his larger-than-life stories sometimes blurred the line between truth and entertainment. What she meant was that Blake had a way of saying things that sounded so believable, people couldn't always tell if he was serious. For fans, this created some of the funniest moments on television. For Kelly, it was proof that Blake's humor shaped the tone of the entire set. She admitted that being a coach was emotionally demanding, and Blake's competitive but comedic presence made it both challenging and lighter at the same time. However, their closeness on the show did not escape the public eye. Some fans and media outlets began to speculate about the impact of Kelly's bond with Blake on his relationship with Gwen Stefani. While there was never a public conflict between Gwen and Kelly, comparisons were bound to happen. People love triangles, and with three big personalities in the spotlight, the rumors wrote themselves. Blake had to juggle being a professional figure on one of America's biggest reality shows while also building a private life as Gwen's partner and later her husband. It reminded everyone that much of his personal life was tied to The Voice. After all, that was the place where he first met Gwen. Blake himself has admitted in interviews that the show completely changed his life, not only because of his career, but because of the love story that began behind the cameras. This gave weight to the idea that what fans suspected all along was true. Blake's world of music, television, and personal life were more connected than he let on. In the meantime, a psychic matchmaker stepped forward with a shocking prediction. According to them, Blake's love life was heading for a storm. Even his most loyal fans were left stunned, wondering if fate had something darker planned for the country star. The psychic matchmaker prediction. Among the many stories written about Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani, one of the most surprising came from a psychic matchmaker whose predictions stirred strong reactions. The Sun ran a piece suggesting that Blake and Gwen could be heading for trouble. According to the article, there might be risks of infidelity or divorce, or even just the weight of bad energy between them. Psychic matchmaker Deborah Graham went further, claiming Gwen was managing what she described as a needy husband, which immediately caught attention. The speculation did not end there. Life and Style magazine reported in January that the couple had been struggling behind the scenes. A source told the outlet, "The tension continues to grow, and Blake and Gwen are drifting apart as a result." Graham herself added that this had been quite a tricky relationship. She explained, "For now, Blake is going to have to be strong. Blake loves Gwen and accepts her, but to the same extent, this is all about them having more quality time together. He can be needy of his wife, but I do not feel it is there right now from her side." Together, these statements created a picture of a marriage weighed down by pressure, distance, and unspoken worries. When these rumors began to spread widely, Gwen was quick to push back. She has addressed talk of divorce more than once, and each time she denied the claims outright. In interviews, she admitted that she sometimes feels insecure or paranoid about her marriage, but she has also insisted that her bond with Blake is strong and lasting. Gwen framed the relationship as something real and grounded, no matter how much outsiders wanted to question it. Still, the reports pointed toward deeper questions. Could the couple's different lifestyles create friction over time? Gwen is tied to Los Angeles, fashion, and the pop music world, while Blake is most comfortable at his Oklahoma ranch, surrounded by country traditions. These contrasts became easy material for critics who were already looking for cracks in the relationship. The reason such predictions persist has much to do with their pasts. Both went through very public divorces before finding each other, which makes people wonder if history might repeat itself. Both are also strong personalities with loyal fans who often project their own hopes and fears onto the couple. Adding to this, Gwen's music often touches on love, insecurity, and emotional struggle, themes that tabloids are quick to twist into evidence of hidden problems. And yet, it was not a psychic who revealed the deepest truth about their love. That came when Blake himself finally opened up. He admitted something that fans had whispered about for years, but it was not what anyone expected. Blake Shelton finally opened up. One of the clearest windows into this truth of their relationship came with Gwen's song Purple Irises, a duet she recorded with Blake. The idea was born during the pandemic when Gwen noticed a cluster of purple irises blooming on Blake's ranch. The flowers became a metaphor for beauty and time, for how quickly things can change, and for the fear of growing older. The song carried layers of meaning, speaking not only about nature but about the transience of love and life. In interviews, Gwen explained how those irises reflected her own insecurities. She said, "I had been going through those times where you're questioning, 'Oh my gosh, am I just getting older? Am I cute?' In my own relationship, even though I know the truth of what's happening today, you still create drama in your own mind about your insecurities and what might happen. I was in that phase of the relationship with Blake and getting paranoid." Blake did not shy away from this conversation either. Shelton told People magazine that Stefani isn't secretive about her fears, nor is she alone in them. "It's an insecurity we both have," he said. "These are conversations that she and I have with each other. Are you still going to love me when I'm old or if I forget who I am?" His words showed that their worries were not one-sided. Both carried the weight of time and uncertainty, but they faced it together. This openness had an important effect. Instead of letting rumors define them, they turned speculation into conversation. By sharing their doubts publicly, they allowed fans to see them as human beings rather than untouchable stars. Their words made it clear that love was not about pretending everything was perfect, but about being honest, even when it was difficult. As Gwen put it, "When you're in love and have truly aligned values, nobody can get to us." The hidden details of their life together added depth to this honesty. Gwen still struggles with her inner voice of self-doubt, but Blake supports her, reminding her that he too worries about the same things. Their creative projects, whether it is Purple Irises or other duets, have become emotional outlets for expressing these fears and finding strength in each other. What many had long suspected is now clear. Beneath the smiles on red carpets and the laughter on The Voice, their relationship is shaped by the same insecurities that affect everyone. Age, fame, and lifestyle differences do play a role, and Gwen's vulnerable songs mirror her inner battles. Blake's admission, "Are you still going to love me when I'm old or if I forget who I am?" shows the raw heart of their story. He has often said Gwen saved him, and it is clear that their bond began in friendship before it deepened into love. Blake Shelton eventually set the record straight, clearing away months of rumors and speculation. He made it clear that his marriage with Gwen Stefani is strong and full of mutual support, shutting down the idea that outside pressures could tear them apart. The talk of Kelly Clarkson causing tension was nothing more than gossip, and the psychic predictions of trouble or separation proved to be false. By openly sharing his and Gwen's insecurities while affirming their love, Blake showed that their relationship is not only surviving, but thriving. But what does this all mean for their future? Can their love story survive fame, tabloids, and time itself? Future of their relationship. Blake Shelton and Gwen Stefani often say their relationship is rooted in shared values. Gwen has described being in love with her best friend and how that foundation makes even difficult times easier to face. For Blake, the heart of his vision is family and faith. He has spoken about the importance of being present not only for Gwen, but also for her 3 children, and how creating a sense of stability has become central to his life. Together, they show that their marriage is not only about romance, but also about building a life shaped by commitment and values. Looking ahead, there are still things they may need to work on. Both have been honest about overthinking and insecurities, and learning to quiet those inner doubts will likely remain part of their journey. They also face the reality of aging, the way public perception shifts, and the challenge of staying authentic while living under constant attention. Balancing busy careers with family time will continue to test them, though their past choices suggest they are determined to keep family at the center. Possible challenges are always present for a couple of their fame. Rumors and tabloids will persist, sometimes inventing problems or magnifying small disagreements. Their very different backgrounds could also create friction. Gwen's world of pop music and city life versus Blake's love of country traditions and rural Oklahoma. Yet so far, they have found ways to turn these differences into strengths, each learning from the other's perspective. The greater pressure may come from being seen as a celebrity couple, where public expectation demands perfection even when real life is messy. Fans can expect more from them creatively. Their duet Purple Irises showed how personal themes could inspire music, and it's likely they will release more songs that share glimpses of their relationship. They also seem more willing now to give interviews where they admit to vulnerabilities, fears, and regrets, showing that honesty is part of how they connect with their audience. In the end, Blake's admission was not a scandal, but a human truth. Even strong marriages carry fears, doubts, and struggles. What we all suspected is that love does not erase insecurity, but true love means staying and facing it together. At 49, Blake Shelton seems to finally admit that being loved despite imperfections is worth more than any polished image, and that may be the strongest foundation for their future. So, what do you think about Gwen's insecurities, Blake's past scandals, and what the future might hold for their relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, you can like and share this video. Do well to subscribe to this channel. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.